Hey everybody, this is Chad with Kuandaa International again here at the annual conference of the Indiana United Methodist Church, and we are continuing our series this week in our ministry foundations. And so we are right outside the conference center here to my back to my right, and so back to my left we have the St. John Catholic Church. And so we're here today because our video this week is on worship renewal. Because part of our job as ministry leaders and as pastors is to renew worship in our churches. And so worship, most of us know, is a crucial part of a Christian life. Being involved in a worship congregation, being involved in worship in our lives, because worship is not just what happens on Sunday mornings. It's not the music, it's not the word, the communion. It is all about the heart that is put behind it. In John chapter 4, verses 23 and 24, it says that we're supposed to worship in spirit and in truth. And it also says that God is seeking people who will worship Him in spirit and in truth. And so that means that God is calling you to worship not just through what you do, but also how you do it. Worshiping in spirit means doing things with a worshipful motive. Not just doing it because we feel we have to or because the church says we should, but because we need to, because we love God, and because we essentially feel no other option in our hearts than to worship the risen Lord. And so it's all about doing things to please God, doing things that will bring God glory and honor, doing things that are going to be very pleasing. And so the pastor's job, the church leader's job, is to facilitate this renewal, to renew this spirit of worship in our churches and in our community, to get it beyond words and music and preaching and really bring our hearts to worship. There's a song that is called Heart of Worship. The song was written by a church that felt that their worship service had become too production. It had become not enough heartfelt interaction and too much stage performance. And so the church gave up doing music in church for some time. And when they came back, they sang this song about coming back to the heart of worship, where it's all about you, Lord, where it's all about Christ. It's not about us. It's not about what we're doing, but about what God is doing in our lives. And so we're worshiping God because of what He is doing, because of who He is. And we do it with our hearts. We bring our hearts and not just our bodies. And so as a pastor, we have to continue always be in a heart of worship and also teaching a heart of worship. And so we do that a few ways. First, we do it through our preaching. Our preaching should not just be a lecture. It should not just be facts and figures. Our preaching should be from the heart. It should be a burden from God, that this message that we have to bring to our congregation and to the world. And so we've got to do it through our preaching. We should also do it through our prayers. When we pray from the heart. We don't pray just because Jesus said to. Even when we pray the Lord's Prayer, we're supposed to pray it from our hearts and not necessarily just reading the words from a page. And so when we pray, we must pray from our hearts, knowing that there is a burden for people, a burden for a lost world, and that people need to know Jesus. But worship also means living it out in our lives. We have to live a life of worship. It means choosing every day to do things that please God, things that will bring Him glory, doing things not for our own sake, but for God's sake and for the sake of the gospel. And so that's what it means to live it out. It means that everything we do has a worshipful motive. Everything we do, we want to give God credit for, and we want to show people Christ through our lives. And so we have to have that. Our job as pastors is to renew that spirit of worship in our churches and in our congregations. And so I hope that you're at work doing that this week, that you're actively working to bring a heart of worship to your people and to your community. And so I hope you have gotten something from this video. I hope that it has encouraged you and moved you forward in your walk with Christ and in your leadership. And you can find more of our videos at kuandaa.org or on our YouTube page for Kuandaa International. Thank you.